Caitlin Clark has spent the last week rewriting the WNBA record book, and the entire basketball world has taken notice. Not just WNBA fans, not just Fever fans. The kind of attention that pulls in NBA legends, crossover audiences, and casual fans who don't normally follow women's basketball but cannot ignore what they are seeing right now. In the span of 2 games, Clark and her teammates broke records that have never existed before in this league's history. Records that will not be easy for anyone to take away anytime soon. And if you have not been paying close attention to exactly what happened, it is time to catch up, because this stretch is going to be talked about for years. Let's start with the night that kicked all of this off. Against the Chicago Sky on June 11th, Clark and Aaliyah Boston did something that had never happened before in the entire history of the WNBA. They became the first 2 teammates ever to each record a 30-point double-double in the same game. Not the first this season, not the first in the last decade, the first ever. Every great duo that has played together in this league since it started in 1997, and not one of them pulled this off before Clark and Boston did it against Chicago. Clark finished that night with 32 points and 10 assists. Boston matched her with 34 points and 12 rebounds, a career high. 2 players operating at their absolute ceiling in the same building, in the same game. And that was just the beginning of what that single night produced. Clark's 32 and 10 gave her the WNBA record for most 30-point, 10-assist games in league history. 3 of them now in just her 3rd season. The next closest player in the history of this league has exactly 1. Not 2. 1. Clark is not just leading this category, she is essentially the only person in it, because nobody else has ever done this more than once across an entire career. To understand how rare this actually is, look at who Clark passed to get there. Before Clark arrived, Courtney Vandersloot held the WNBA's all-time mark for 20-point, 10-assist games with 10, a total built across 436 career games. Clark matched and passed that number in a fraction of the appearances. The 30-point, 10-assist threshold is even rarer. The next closest players to Clark's 3 career games at that level are 4 different players, each with exactly 1, not 1 player with 2. 4 separate players tied at 1 apiece, and Clark sitting alone at 3. For the 25-point, 10-assist mark, Clark passed Sabrina Ionescu, who needed 144 career games to reach 5 such performances. Clark got there in a fraction of that span. These are not records she nudged past by 1 or 2 games. She is lapping the rest of the league's history at categories most players never reach even once. That also made her the first player in WNBA history to record multiple 30-point, 10-assist games in a single season. She did in 1 year what no player had managed across a full career, and this season still has games left to play. On top of that, Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 200 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists in a single season. That combination covers scoring, playmaking, and being involved in possessions at every level. It is not a stat that inflates because one part of your game is hot. You need all 3 working at once, and Clark got there faster than anyone before her. That game also pushed Indiana to 114 points, a franchise record at the time, set in a game that needed overtime to decide after Chicago clawed all the way back from 19 points down. So none of these records came in a comfortable blowout where the outcome was already locked up. Clark and Boston were breaking history while the game was still genuinely in doubt. Then came Tuesday night against the Toronto Tempo, and Indiana broke its own record again, this time without needing extra time to do it. The Fever scored 113 points, which now stands as the franchise record for points in a game that did not go to overtime. 2 different scoring records set 5 days apart against 2 different opponents. That is the kind of offensive explosion that does not happen by accident. Clark's own night against Toronto looked different on the surface. She shot just 5 for 15 from the field and missed 7 of her 8 3-point attempts. But she finished with a season-high 14 assists, setting up Kelsey Mitchell for 27 points and Sophie Cunningham for a season-high 24 off the bench. 3 players in double figures over 20 points in the same game, with Clark as the engine making all of it possible even on a night her own shot would not fall. Think about what that means. Clark is currently sitting second in the entire WNBA in assists per game. She is in the middle of one of the most productive assist stretches anyone has had in this league, and she is doing it while also holding the all-time WNBA record for most 30-point 10-assist games. Scoring and playmaking both happening at a historic level in the same stretch of games. This is exactly why the entire basketball world is watching right now, and not just the people who normally follow the WNBA closely. When a player starts stacking records this quickly in this short a window, it does not stay contained inside one league. It crosses over. NBA legends notice. Crossover fans notice. The kind of attention that turns a regular Tuesday night WNBA game into something people are talking about across every corner of the sports world. Clark has already proven she can do that to ratings and attendance numbers since the day she was drafted. Now she is doing it to the actual record books, one game at a time, in a stretch that is moving faster than anyone expected this early in a season. And here's the part that should make every other team in this league nervous. Clark is only 24 years old. She is in her third season, technically her second full healthy one after an injury-shortened year. Boston is the same age, also just hitting her stride as one of the most dangerous scoring centers in the league. The two-man game between them, the pick and roll that produced 8 separate records in a single night against Chicago, is not some peak that is about to level off. By every account from people inside that building, it is still developing. Stephanie White herself put it simply after the Chicago game. When you have a point guard and a center that are both special, you can build a team around that. That is exactly what Indiana is doing right now, and the record book is the proof. None of this happened because of one hot shooting night that will inevitably cool off. The 14-assist game against Toronto came while Clark was missing shots. The 32-point, 10-assist game against Chicago came in an overtime battle the Fever nearly let slip away. These records are surviving real pressure, real adversity, and real competition, not garbage time padding against teams that gave up. That is what makes a record mean something. Not the number itself, but the conditions it was set under. So here's where things stand right now. Caitlin Clark holds the WNBA record for most 30-point, 10-assist games in league history, with the next closest player not even close behind her. She is the fastest player ever to reach 200 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists in a season. She and Aaliyah Boston are the first teammates in WNBA history to both record 30-point double-doubles in the same game. And in the span of 1 week, the Indiana Fever set 2 different franchise scoring records, one in overtime and one in regulation. Both built around Clark, setting up her teammates at an elite level. That is not a hot streak. That is a player rewriting what is considered possible in this league, in real time, while the entire basketball world watches it happen. And the records still on the table make this stretch even more interesting. Clark already holds the single-game WNBA assist record with 19, set against Dallas in 2024, breaking Courtney Vandersloot's previous mark of 18. With her playmaking trending this hot, a 4th 30-point, 10-assist game is realistic before the season ends, which would put that record even further out of reach for anyone else in this league. The combined scoring and assist record she set that same Dallas night, scoring or assisting on 66 points in a single game, surpassing a 65-point effort from Diana Taurasi in 2006, is also a number she has shown she can approach again on any given night Boston and Mitchell are finishing at a high clip. If Indiana keeps playing at this pace, Clark is not just adding to records. She is pulling further away from players who have been in this league for over a decade. What do you think? Is Caitlin Clark putting together the most historic stretch of records this league has ever seen? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because we are tracking every single record as it falls. We will see you in the next one.